Jesus Christ.
Kick-Ass 2 did not kick ass.
It's about the level of jokes from this movie.
Yeah. I was excited to go see it. I was like, yes, a good movie.
I loved the first one.
I did too.
The first one, I would have said was one of the best movies of that year.
We did get a great Nicolas Cage picture in the background.
Yeah, in the background of a shot, there's a picture of Nicolas Cage, and even if it's just a picture, of course, Nick Cage is one of the best parts about the movie. This Kick-Ass 2 sucks. I'm just gonna say it. Kick-Ass 2 sucks.
I didn't think I would be saying that. I thought we would come out of it and be like, yeah, that was great.
It wasn't.
No.
This is a colossal disappointment. Every fucking thing about this goddamn movie is an entire downgrade from the first one. Everything. From the way it's shot, from the direction, the writing, the jokes. Yeah, the shaky cam, but last night I saw Elysium, and Elysium had much worse shaky cam than
I
this.
have a big issue with shaky cam when there's intense fighting choreography, because you lose a lot of that with the shaky cam, and you can tell they're doing, all of it, and then the shaky cam just kind of takes away from it, because the fighting choreography through most of it is great, but they add the shaky cam, and you lose a lot of what that was.
It seemed like this has a lot more shaky cam than the first one does, but every piece of direction in this is completely lacking compared to the first one. Like, why in God's name would you get to write and direct a follow-up to Kick-Ass? Why in the hell would you get the guy who did Cry Wolf? That's like going from fucking Wes Anderson to Sean fucking Levy. This movie is so goddamn uninspired in every fucking aspect about it. It's not funny. The jokes suck. Tone, we'll get into tone.
Oh, the people next to us thought they were hilarious.
I'm sure. The jokes don't fucking work. The villains don't fucking work. This movie, the first movie was witty. It was gorgeous looking. It had style.
And dark where it was supposed to be dark instead of throwing, like, he'll get into the tone.
This movie looks like, this movie is directed with the same fucking quality as a fucking direct-to-video sequel to a Bring It On movie. What?
Speaking of Bring It On...
Did no one give a shit about this fucking movie?
Speaking of Bring It On, they insert this whole Mean Girl saga in the middle of it.
Half the fucking movie's Heathers.
Yeah, because Hit Girl is all like, no, I'm gonna be a normal girl. And literally, like, the three girls, you've got the mean bitch blonde, and then her two friends with, like, the curly hair and the regular. And it's this whole, like, oh, we're gonna make you popular thing, but then they end up being bitches to her, and it's, for the longest thing, very...
Their comeuppance was good.
Yeah.
Their comeuppance was one of the few things.
I didn't like all the pukey poopy stuff.
They had that. They fucking had that coming. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The CGI in this fucking movie is god awful. This movie is basically about everything but Kick-Ass. Like, I know, like, there are people out there who had that problem with the first one. I didn't. Like, yeah, the supporting characters were some of the best part about the first one, but I still liked Kick-Ass, the character. And it's, even in the first one, it's still, even though you had very larger-than-life supporting characters like Big Daddy, Hit Girl, and Mark Strong, and all of these people, even if you had that, it's still, the first one still felt like it was a movie about Kick-Ass. It still felt, to me anyway, that it was Kick-Ass's movie.
This was more Hit Girl's movie.
It's everyone's movie but Kick-Ass. He's just there throughout this movie, and I'm sorry, I know people are probably going to say, well, didn't the first one too? Well, it didn't feel like that to me when I saw the first one. I've seen the first one many times. I love the first one, and maybe I'm just saying that the first one did that well, and this one didn't, but that's still me saying this one didn't do that well.
Jim Carrey was good.
Okay, yeah, Jim Carrey, whenever Jim Carrey is on screen in this movie, it actually breathes life into this thing. Jim Carrey actually, his character actually gives this movie a lot of personality. He's in it about 10 fucking minutes. Like, Nick Cage is in the first one about triple times as much as Jim Carrey is in this. Like, Jim Carrey...
And he was one of the best side characters.
Yeah, Jim Carrey is actually... I know Jim Carrey has kind of distanced himself from the movie now, but now after seeing it, I can't say I fucking blame. Not for the stupid reasons he said.
I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
This is news to me.
Jim Carrey, he came out like a month or so ago and made a big deal that he wasn't going to promote the movie because of the level of violence in it. And I read that, I was like,
he was doing a lot of the violence
I was
in
like,
his scenes.
did he not read the script or see the first movie? But the reason he said was because, like, he said that the Sandy Hook shooting, like, changed him or something. All right,
whatever,
like,
yeah.
to each their own on that. Like, I mean, my favorite movie is Caligula. I don't have a problem with violence in movies, but and I didn't have a problem with the violence in this movie, other than the fact that it was shot terrible and the CGI blood was god awful. There are set pieces in this which actually could be fairly well done if the CGI wasn't so fucking atrocious.
And the CGI poo.
The CGI, well, the poo, yeah. I mean, that I didn't have so much a problem with that.
That was YouTube quality. It's like, if you're gonna do poo gag,
yeah,
at
but
least
that was
get, like, so it was just
that was
on top
kind
of all
of
the bad
juvenile to
CGI.
begin with.
I didn't even
so,
like it. I was like, why is this here?
I liked seeing them get that come up. And you know what, Chloe Moretz, I mean, God love her. She's good in this. This is a terrible fucking movie. She's really good in this. She is. Like, I've seen her in movies that have sucked, but she's still really good. She does, for as young as she is, she makes a really good action lead. Honestly, Jim Carrey makes a good action guy in this. Jim Carrey, in all of his scenes, you want to see a movie about this. You want to see a movie about these amateurs that have made their own sort of amateur Justice League. And that kind of work, like those scenes, but that makes up like 10% of this fucking movie.
The thing is, and obviously it's not supposed to be all, high tech and realistic in the aspect of superhero-dom.
Yeah.
But you've got these two parents that are like Team Save Timmy with their kid's picture on their shirt. And I mean, the villains end up finding all the superheroes and try and pick them off by using social network. And through this whole thing, they're like tweeting and doing all that. And then the one, the gay kid that's like a gay superhero, right, says he doesn't wear a mask because it's like going back in the closet.
What you put in your mouth, kid?
Yeah, but it's kind of like, you're supposed to be in disguise.
But I mean, that was a joke.
But they go into, like, at the end they have all the bad guys and all the good guys, and it's like, and you've got the two parents where the mom's got a purse with a brick in it. It's like, you would be dead. Like, I did not like the thing with it. Okay, mwah, and it was just, it took you out of that epic battle scene, having the shtick with the parents.
What took me out was the shift in tone. That didn't so much take me out of it, because that...
But it was like that the whole movie.
I know. But like the stuff with the parents, that kind of went along with even the style of comedy from the first movie. Like,
they would have been dead in the first fight.
Well, I can suspend my disbelief on that. I mean, come on, like, Kick-Ass wouldn't have made it. If it was real, Kick-Ass wouldn't have made it past 15 minutes of the first movie. But they didn't have to throw the
shtick in the middle of, like, the end scene battle. It was just...
I mean, that ending's battle scene was full of a lot of shtick. I mean, really, I thought the tone in the last battle was fairly consistent. It was everywhere else where I thought the tone was all over the goddamn place. Like,
I just couldn't stand those two.
We're fucking with their Justice League group. I can't remember what they call themselves, but like, but
Justice Forever.
That's it. And we're with them, and they're doing their thing. But then it's mixed in with this stuff from Heathers, and I didn't even like Heathers, but like.
I like
it's mixed in. A lot of people do. It's not for me.
I love my dead gay son.
But that was funny. Anyway. But then that's mixed in with the Mean Girls stuff and. Oh God, the stuff with fucking McLovin. I mean, talk about a goddamn downgrade to go from Mark Strong as the villain from the original to whiny ass fucking McLovin in this, who spends the whole movie just bitching and whining, and it's not fucking funny. And they do the same jokes again, where it's like, we're gonna post this to Twitter, we're gonna put this out on Facebook. Like, social media is...
His name is Motherfucker, and he's got like weird racist-y names for all of his people.
Okay, I laughed at that.
The Russian chick, Brigitte Nielsen, is still getting work.
You like, but like, it's social media is a running gag through the whole movie, and it gets old quick. But I did laugh at all of the names that the motherfucker keeps
tumor.
coming up for his psychics are all
Mother
racist.
Russia, yeah.
Even like John Leguizamo, who's wasted in this. Even John Leguizamo's like, God damn it, why are all your names racist? I laughed at that, but the tone is all fucking wrong.
For every
because
one genuinely little funny part, there's a shit ton more that are just throwaway.
But I'm not even talking about that. Like I'm talking about, like, we'll have a really dramatic scene with, spoiler, Kick-Ass's dad dying or getting killed, and then Kick-Ass is like crying and upset he's at the funeral, and then like Hit Girl crying to Kick-Ass about what she wants to do with her life and stuff like that. But this is all stuff that comes seconds after like a really gross out sophomore humor gag about like a limp dick or a shit joke or something, and then this really just tonally it's fucking whiplash throughout this whole goddamn thing. Like, I couldn't get invested into the serious parts because there was a stupid joke about 10 seconds right before then. Like, we arrived here and Sarah was saying something that she read in several reviews that people were complaining about a rape scene.
Yeah.
There's not really, like, they attempt to, I didn't think that gag was that bad, really. Like,
no, I mean they're going after all of the superheroes in the Justice Forever and the what was it?
Night
Bitch. Sorry. They do call her Bat Whore, one of them does. They go into Night Bitch and he's like, you're gonna see what evil dick tastes like or something like that, and he can't get it up, so he's trying to get it up.
He turns around and starts trying to get it up, but he can't.
So they just beat her up
So they just beat her up. Like, I didn't find anything offensive in that. Alright, whatever. This is a movie where people are getting fucking slaughtered left and right. That wasn't a rape. Like, the way it was described to me was that suddenly it turns into I spit on your grave halfway through. That didn't happen in this.
When the popular kids are, doing the date ditch tour, and you find out that they're being mean to her. The popular kid pulls up and they're in the car in the middle of the woods. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what Sarah's talking about. But no, it just turns into which didn't even make sense anyway, because it was just weird, because you had we're going back to the Mean Girls thing. You've got the Queen Bee being a bitch to her, and then all of a sudden when what's her face, the Guardian that took over after Nicolas Cage, it's like, you need to be a normal girl.
God.
And so she ends up at the slumber party with like Psycho Hosby's bitch, and then all of a sudden they're friends, and then I was just like, it was just like you had a bunch taken out, and it was like a different movie within the movie, and then it just
like
kind of
cheerleading tryouts, and like I certainly understand what they're doing. They're trying to show Hit Girl trying to fit in, sort of, but this is mixed in with all of the stuff that Kick-Ass is doing with Jim Carrey, and it doesn't work. It doesn't feel like it's the same movie.
Right.
It feels like it's two separate movies, just somehow like Godfrey hoed together, like, and the stuff with Morris Chestnut as her guardian he was just such a wet blanket on this whole goddamn movie. Like, oh god, dude. And even the relationship with Kick-Ass and his dad, it's all stuff that I've seen in dozens of other superhero movies, and it doesn't even feel like it's doing it as parody here. It just feels like it's just doing, like, it's Peter Parker
horrible to you, and then you die.
It's Peter Parker's relationship with Uncle Ben.
That's exactly what I thought right before, and
that's exactly what it fucking is. Like, we're seeing Kick-Ass's origin story at the end of the second movie. What? Nothing about, like, hardly anything about this fucking movie worked, and what did was so little. Like,
it was overshadowed by everything else. Like I said, for every one, hot part of the movie, you had all of this other shit jumped on top of it, so it didn't really
It's predictable. You know that fucking dude is gonna end up in the Shark Tank at the end.
I knew that too. I was just I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Why are they even trying to hide the fact that he's hanging over that fucking thing? The tank is underneath him.
3 times they're like, shark just need food, and what about the shark? He's just laying there.
I wonder what's gonna fucking happen. Is he gonna fall in the fucking Shark Tank? And yet, I mean, Jim Carrey really works in this. I could watch a whole fucking movie about that guy, but he's in it for 10 goddamn minutes.
He was one of the best fighters, so it would have ruined all the shenanigans.
Wasted. It's such a waste.
I did like the part where they were gonna kill Jim Carrey's dog, and he was like, "What? I'm not a McLovin's like, "What? I'm not a monster." I'm like, "Even Hitler had a dog." It's true.
Oh God, I don't. And even the musical score, the original, the first film had a really catchy musical score. It had a really catchy theme to it. Oftentimes, even if I'm watching a movie and I like the theme or whatnot, usually I'll kind of forget it. But well, granted, I've seen Kick-Ass a few times, but even after I saw it the first time, it was still theme music that I thought was kind of cool and
it
worked.
had like that heroic.
But it doesn't even have that theme in it. It doesn't even have the same
not the
theme from
Kick-Ass.
the first one.
I'm talking about at least some sort of semblance of serious music to show serious things are happening. Like I said, it sounded like something between like The Rock or Broken Arrow or Face Off.
It was just generic. It was just incredibly generic action music that was in this. It lacked every iota of style that the first movie had, right down to the soundtrack. Everything about this movie looks so generic. The characters are generic. The fucking story is. The goddamn jokes are fucking generic. Did anyone want to make this movie? Anyone? Did anyone really want to do this?
Apparently the studio.
I fucking guess. But the first one, why you would make this and take away every semblance of unique style that the first movie had to just make the...
Don't sequels do that a lot, though?
This is drastic. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to say that, this sequel wasn't as good as the other one, but you can still kind of tell that it's... Okay, alright, for instance, Hangover and Hangover 2.
Well, that's the same movie.
Yeah, Hangover and Hangover 2, but what I mean is that the second one sucks. The first one I like just fine. The second one sucks. But there wasn't a radical change in every aspect of it. The direction was still fine.
Look at Carrie, and then they did Carrie the Rage.
Oh,
and that
God.
Was thank you, right? That's what I'm saying. Like an example of a movie where it was a good movie, and they just completely fucked it up. So that's what I was equating it to.
Carrie and the Rage Carrie 2. And that movie had... This movie has 3 years time between two movies. The Rage Carrie 2 had 20 fucking years. God, that movie sucked dick.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm equating it to when they take a genuinely good movie and they're like, hey, let's make a sequel, and they'll
just take away everything about it. This is going from John McTiernan to fucking John Moore. Die Hard to Die Hard 5.
RoboCop 2, RoboCop 3. I'm making a good case here.
Yeah, RoboCop 3. Well, I like RoboCop 2.
Oh, no, I am. I'm saying that's the bad sequel's RoboCop 3,
yeah.
so...
Yeah. This movie's probably better than RoboCop 3. It's better than Die Hard 5. It's better than...
Shh, that one doesn't count.
It's better than...
It's the CDI games, the Zelda CDI games of the Die Hard series.
If the first Kick-Ass is Caddyshack, this is Caddyshack 2.
See?
This is fucking Weekend at Bernie's 2. This movie is a goddamn mess. It's a fucking mess. I haven't read the comic. For all I know, this is a dead-on adaptation of the comic book. I don't know. But, I can only compare it to the first movie. I can. And they just shit-can his fucking love interest in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Oh, yeah, she thinks he's with Hit Girl.
That didn't even make sense.
And it's slap, and then talks about some tutor's dick or something.
Yeah, then she's just gone through...
so you can get with Bat Whore.
Why did the girlfriend even have to be in it then? They built her up.
Because she was in the first one. They had built her up.
I guess they it made just as much fucking sense in this goddamn movie. They built her up
his car and then left him for varsity players.
They fucking built her up so much in the goddamn first one, and in this, he I don't even understand. Hang on. I don't even he easily could have explained that. He was like,
he did.
Well, he did, but my point is that why didn't she fucking believe him? She fucking knows who he is. Yeah. He easily could have explained that to where I don't understand why she wouldn't just fucking believe him, because what he's saying makes fucking sense. They just want I don't know. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. They just wanted it to. They just threw that in there so they can fucking ditch her out of the movie.
Well, here's the thing, and I haven't seen the first one in so long, but when they're walking the hallway and they're like, we couldn't tell anybody, I couldn't even tell my girlfriend, so I don't know, did she know in the first movie, or are they, like, saying
he told
that...
her in this one that he told her in this one that, like, he had to do some kick-ass
thing. Yeah,
things.
but that's what I mean, like, before he was saying, I can't even tell my girlfriend, and then he mentions it's a kick-ass thing, and then she's like, I don't care, so that was kind of...
And it just, there's nothing, you can think of the most stylish moment from the first movie, and nothing in this
Except
just
Nicolas
even
Cage's
comes close. Like that, the whole finale of the first movie where it's playing like the spaghetti western music and it's playing the Ennio Morricone music and Hit Girl is walking up with her silencers and she's dressed like a schoolgirl. There's nothing in this movie that even comes a fraction close to being as stylish as that was. The movie is just full of god-awful CGI action sequences that don't make any fucking sense.
But
they're
great
not
fighting
fucking
choreography.
funny. You know, when you could fucking tell what was going on.
The training scene near the beginning was pretty good. I mean, after that, it just kind of...
That just felt like it was just thrown in there just to explain why he's ripped as shit in this movie. Like, yeah, there's the part where she's shooting him in with the bulletproof vest, but I saw that in the fucking...
beginning.
I saw that in the fucking first one. I really couldn't stand this fucking movie. Good God. Oh. It's, you know what, like, reasoning aside, I don't blame Jim Carrey for not wanting to promote this, and it isn't for his violence reason. It's just because it's a shitty goddamn movie. I don't know. Like part of me is sort of like I wonder if that's a smoke screen, but
Half
Jim Carrey promoted like fucking Popper's Penguins and
it's because he knew people would have sex in the back of the theater and take a bitch about it.
Yeah. Oh man, I just
forever.
want another great Jim Carrey movie again. Is it so much to fucking ask? I fucking love Jim Carrey. My God, he is great in this movie, but he's barely in the fucking thing. He makes the most of it whenever he's on there. He actually gives life to the movie whenever he's in it, but that's 10% of the fucking movie.
Yeah, everybody else in the Justice for Everything are just talking all kind of casual, monotone, and Jim Carrey just really brings life to every scene he's in versus these regular schmoes kick ass in him.
Yeah, and what I liked was that Jim Carrey really held his own in these action sequences. He did. He was intimidating looking.
Well, that's what I meant when you were saying he's talking against the action. I'm like, did he not know what he was doing in his fight scenes? Like it was a surprise.
Well, he said that like the Sandy Hook thing like changed his mind on violence, something because apparently that's the first mass shooting he's ever heard of.
Them's the times.
Anyway, but you know, I mean, you know, if that's that's his own thing. That's fine. But
I mean, if you take out the bits and pieces that were good, it had potential to be a good movie if all of this shit wasn't piled on there, like the constant. And it's like, you know, I'm all one for puns and occasional one-liners, but it was just like one-liner after one-liner after one-liner, and 9 times out of 10 they weren't funny. Every once in a while there was one where it was kind of like, huh, but like the people next to us were just, at every single fucking thing. That, I mean, you know, like when something's funny you're just kind of like, huh, but it's not laugh out loud funny. But yeah, they enjoyed it, and I'm just kind of thinking, I'm like, is this a commentary of our times? Like people just eat up anything, because like everybody walking out of there was just like, oh yes, I kick ass too. It was awesome. I think every single person besides us in that theater fucking loved this movie.
When I went back in, I heard some young girl saying like, man, the first one was just so hard to watch, but this one wasn't. This one was so much better.
That's what I mean. They're just sticking, and this is rated R too. It's not even supposed to be for kids, and they just stick so much stupid juvenile shtick.
Well, I mean, that's kind of an R-rated comedy thing, is to be very sophomoric and juvenile.
No, but I mean like the constant one, I mean just, it didn't belong. I'm not even talking the throw up and shitting thing, which again, if you're gonna do that, make the shit kind of, it looked like a YouTube, just like black liquid or whatever. In case they're wondering, like, to get back of them, she's got this stick that makes them shit their pants and puke, and it went all over the place. But yeah, just the the verbiage they use, it's just shticky one-liners that aren't funny and take you out of it
Robin
all the
wishes
time.
he was me.
Yeah, and that was in the trailer too. But I mean, once in a while they were funny, but this movie was just, it was like they had a contest of how many stuff they could put in there, and that's what I mean in a rated R movie. It was just kind of pandering, so hey, kids who watch rated
It
R movies,
seemed
it's
like
funny.
it was really dumbed down for wider audience appeal. It does. Every part of this movie is just generic as shit. And my final thought on this thing is that you're right. The movie did have potential because the first one was great. I thought the first one was very funny, very stylish, very well done, and intense when it needed to be. This movie just squanders all of that. And if they're gonna do another one, they fucking better get someone worth a fucking lick of salt to helm the goddamn thing, because this guy who did this, who wrote it and directed it, is not fucking cutting it.
Oh, sorry. The ending, she leaves town because she points out vigilantes don't get free passes. And so it ends with this montage of stuff going on, and then the cops are all in her bedroom and the Guardian's there, and she's leaving the city because she, shot a bunch of people with a cop's gun. And I'm just like, all right, well, if it's that huge of a problem that you used the cop's gun and killed all these people, leaving the city isn't going to do jack shit. And it was kind of like this supposed closure thing, but it wasn't closure.
I want to follow her for a Hit Girl movie.
Yeah.
I could dig that.
But it's kind of like, alright, so you're gonna be on the run forever, but technically wouldn't it be like self-defense? And she's got people on the inside.
I don't know, I'm not thinking that hard about it.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna do a closure montage, do a closure montage.
It was just
I'm nitpicking now.
it was just a generic, like, she's riding off into the sunset thing.
It was
at
just
the
like
end. That
crazy
was it.
revenge, funny villains, mishmashed together, and if you took the core of what the story was supposed to be, it would be about this big, and the rest of it just like, you know what I mean?
It's about this big, but there's about a dozen things that are this big, all just jammed together in one movie. I've got nothing else to say about this. Do you? Because I'm out. I'm tapped out. This movie was highly fucking disappointing.
It did not kick ass.